Right, friends, I have put across for you a series of tutorials wherein you will be learning how to post-process the images of birds. Now, this is specific to birds. Now, this is not a tutorial to teach you Lightroom or Photoshop. I presume that you already have a working knowledge of these softwares, and if not, you need to learn them before you can work on these tutorials. So there are a whole lot of tutorials available on the net. Kindly go ahead and enroll for them and learn about it. Now, if you already know about Lightroom and Photoshop, then it's very good. You will pick up whatever I have to tell you much faster. Now, for those of you who are totally new to Lightroom and Photoshop, let me tell you that these are softwares made by a company known as Adobe, and you can access these and download these as a trial version on your computer by going to www.adobe.com. These are also available for purchase for I think $9 a month or something like that. So it's not very costly, it's quite reasonable, and if you are into photography, I think these softwares are a must, and knowledge of these software is also must. Now, having said that, we will now focus on to processing images of birds using Lightroom and Photoshop. So first thing is that you have to import. Okay, before that, I'll just give you a very brief details about the interface which you're seeing at the moment. Now, this is what you're seeing now is Lightroom. So in my workflow, we are going to be initially using Lightroom to edit your photos or process your photos, because mostly when you're doing photography now with digital cameras, you capture it in raw format. So that needs to be converted into a readable format by other software before it can be used. So it can be done either in Lightroom or it can be done in Camera Raw. Since my process involves Lightroom and Camera Raw, we will work on, involves Lightroom and Photoshop, we are going to be working in Lightroom to post-process the images initially. So basically, this is the interface, and you have a couple of panels. Here there's a panel which helps you in organizing your images. Then you have a film strip here where all your images which you have imported are available to you. This right in front where you're seeing the blown up image is the work area. Then you have here various modules. Now the first one is a library module which helps you to organize and store your images on the hard disk or any external hard disk. You also have then the develop module. This is where you have tools on the right panel here which help you to post-process your images. Then you have map, book, slideshow, print and web. Now these modules we are not going to be using in these series of tutorials, but they have their own utility. I suggest you learn about it in your own time or go through a course which I also have. I also have 2 courses on Lightroom and Photoshop, the link of which I have mentioned in my book. If you so desire, you can take these courses. Right, friends. Having said that, the first aspect is to import the directory in which your photographs are to Lightroom. For doing that, we are going to go down to the library module, and on the left corner you will find this button import. We are going to click on that. Now, directory has come up here, or if it is not, they will have to negotiate to that. But I already have it open. I'll scroll down and I want to import this directory of birds in my... Now the moment you click on it, the thumbnails are visible and you have check marks on almost all images. Now you can either import all of these or you could just select few and import it. So I will, for this tutorial, import all these images. So on the right bottom corner now you have a button saying import. Click on that and you will find that this thing has got populated with the images which you have now imported. You are currently in the library module. At the bottom you have a scroller. You can scroll, and this is what is known as the film strip. You can select any photograph. As you will see, it will get highlighted here, or you can even select it from here. If you will double click it, it will open up as a full zoomed in photograph. Right. Now, we will now go on to develop module. Now, I'm going to be selecting this one, and this image is the one which I'm going to be working on. And we'll go to develop module, and we are going to post-process this image using Lightroom and Photoshop. Gentlemen and ladies and young kids, if you're also using this program, this is a tutorial. This is a module which just introduces you to the workflow which I use. I am not going to be going in details. I am going to be covering all these aspects in smaller modules subsequently, which will be of use to you. So here, first thing is I analyze the photograph. Now, when I brought it in, I find that this is slightly underexposed and the colors are also dull, and there are certain details which are missing in this camera. But we need not worry, because since I have taken the photograph in camera raw, that data is available to me and I can bring it back. So you have an option. Firstly, we start with the basic panel. Click here and you will find that there are a number of sliders here which will help you to post-process. Now, the easiest way is that you go here and click on auto. Now, this has improved the photograph, but you will find that a lot of highlights are missing now and it's looking much brighter. Now, this is what I don't want. So, I am going to reset the image, which brings it back to its normal place. So, here only I'd like to mention that Adobe Lightroom, whatever editing you do here is non-destructive. So, once you've done any changes, if required, you can go back to your original image, right? And it will only get permanent once you export the image to a different format or a readable format like JPG or TIFF or whatever. There are a whole lot of options available. All right. Now we reset this. Now what I normally do in my workflow is, firstly, I analyze the photograph. So I find it a bit dark. There are less details available. The photograph is not all that sharp, and the colors also. They desire to be improved. I desire that they be improved. And the composition is also not as per rule of thirds. I generally follow rule of thirds. So the first thing is I would like to crop this image to improve the composition. For that, here from the toolbar, I am going to pick up this crop tool. The moment I click on it, you will find that a grid has come up. Now I want this cross here, intersection, to be at a place which makes this photograph adhere to the rule of thirds. So I am going to press the shift tab. You must do that to do any kind of cropping in a proportional manner. So I'm going to do this. Now this cross I want to bring somewhere here on the shoulder. Okay, that should be good enough. So I have got now, I have framed the image in a manner which to me looks much better than before, because any image which is placed in the center is not really. Now you must have already read about it in my ebook regarding composition and the rule of thirds, so I will not talk about this aspect in a greater detail here. So now double click on it and the image has been cropped. So this is my first step in my workflow, right? Now thereafter I would like to improve the highlights. So I am going to drag this a bit to the left. Now see, when I am doing that, more details have come in the white portion. Similarly, if you will notice, there are a lot of details which are not visible to us in the black area. So I am going to crank up the dial on the shadow slider till such time I can see the details in. So I have almost cranked it up 100%, and now we have a lot of details in these dark areas. Right. Now we could warm up this image a bit, so I could go rather improve the color balance. So I can go here and actually have options. You can say as short, or you can even click on auto. Right. Now auto has made it even cooler, so I will go back to as short, and I am going to crank up the temperature a bit. So suffice to say that you can use this program to even correct the white balance, right? Okay, that should be good enough. Now I would like to improve the clarity, so I go here to this slide of clarity, crank it up to about 25% or so, and similarly I would like to crank up the vibrance. Right. Now I have done something. Already the image is looking much better. Let's have a look at it. See, the left is what we started with and the right side is what we have improved it to be so far. So let's go back to full screen. Right. Now, if you see the image clearly, there are certain noise which is visible in the background, and so it will be there in the bird itself, but it is not visible to our naked eyes. But we can correct it here only in Lightroom. So we go to this panel here, detail, click on it, and you have certain options available. Now we go to this noise reduction panel, and we are going to increase the luminance to about, say, maybe 40, or let it be 30, right? So improvement in the noise level has come, the noise has reduced. We will leave it at that at the moment. Okay. So this phase of editing in Lightroom is over. So next step is to go to Photoshop and improve this further. Right. Now, to do that, click here on photo and there is a drop down menu. Here you have option of edit in and there is a fly out menu. So from here you select edit in Adobe Photoshop CC 2015. Click on it and the image is going to open up in Photoshop. Right. Now here the first thing which I normally like to do is improve the color and the contrast. So I normally click here on adjustment layers, go down to levels, and there are options available. I use the options. I will first click on 2. It makes the image a bit too dark, which I don't want. So I will go to increase contrast 1. Right. I'll restrict to 1. Now here you will notice that, now let's see, after applying this adjustment layer, there is an improvement which has come in. The image has become much richer in color and darker, right? Now, the next step which I do is I want to improve the noise further. We did something in Lightroom, but it did not affect the image as much as it should have. So you can use certain filters which are available in the market today. They're commercial filters which can be added on to Photoshop. I have done a lot of research. There are so many of them available, but I have, I use now something known as denoise from Topaz Labs. So that's available, and once you buy it and install it, it will be available in your filters menu. Click here, and here we have, no, it will not get applied because of the adjustment layer. So we are going to go and flatten the image, and we are going to duplicate the layer. Now friends, remember, always duplicate the layer and then work on it, because whatever editing you do in Photoshop is destructive. And should you save it, then thereafter you cannot retrieve the details. So that's very important. Now we go to filter and you have this option Topaz Labs and you've got Topaz Denoise. Right, click on it. And you have certain presets available. I will pick up this JPG Strong. You can experiment with the other presets which are available. Click on it and click on OK. Now you will find that this is getting applied to your image. Okay, so it has got applied to image, and you'll find that the background has now become quite clear, looking quite soft and nice, but at the same time a bit of degradation of sharpness in the bird has also come in. So we are going to again flatten the image, duplicate the image, and I'm going to apply a filter from Photoshop to sharpen the bird. So I'll go to filter and I'm going to go to sharpen, unsharp mask. I'm going to apply the unsharp mask. Now you must have noticed already the bird is looking a bit sharper. Now there are certain settings here, amount, radius and threshold. play around with this and arrive at a good combination for yourself. I prefer 149 as a mount and 2.0 as radius and threshold as 0, and click here on OK. Right, now this improvement or sharpness has got applied right across the board or an entire thing. So you may again find some noise in the background which we don't want. So you can do selective sharpening just of the bird. So for this you need to apply a mask, apply that, and you need to inverse the changes. Right, now it will come back to original, but it is there in the memory. So we are going to paint in the sharpness just to the birds. For that we have to pick up the brush which is already there, and now you see the bird is becoming much clearer. So wherever you want the sharpness to work on, I'm just going to be touching on the bird, is there. So you have selectively improved the sharpness of the bird, right? And then we are ready to use this image wherever we want to. We covered a lot of ground in this tutorial, and we have enhanced the image to the way we want. Now we have detail, we have sharpness, and we have a smooth background. So using Lightroom and Photoshop, you can do a lot of changes. You need to understand the tools and work with it to improve your images, which is a must when it comes to photographing birds, and especially in digital photography. So in spite of the best lenses you use, you will still land up with photographs which will require a bit of post-processing to get it to the level of what you see in magazines, books, or even wall posters. Right, friends? So that is all which I wanted to share with you in this particular tutorial. In subsequent tutorials, we'll go into much more detail of how to enhance your bird images. We'll cover a lot of ground, but still the basics you will have to learn. Or if you're already conversant with the software, then very good. Right then, see you in the next tutorial. Till then, take care.